you will want to know who you have become. And you do that process, you engage in that process every single day. Whenever you get up in the morning, whenever you get up, you are a different person because you have to be, because what you experienced yesterday gave you more awareness, gave you more knowledge, gave you more information. So today you're a different person than you were yesterday. Doesn't matter what you were doing, you gained something. And so that is the process you move through your entire life. We all do. Every single person does from the moment we are born. But then when we are not willing to take that next step in understanding who we have become, then our lives can go a little awry, let's say. They can go a little crazy. And I know this, I can speak from personal experience. But then the other thing that happens, you must take into consideration that you are affected by what happens in the world as well. We all are. It's energy. And so I'm saying you might want to know who you have become now, because it's going to be a little challenging for you to understand that in maybe a year or so, because the world's going to keep changing. And if you're not understanding how you've changed, then it could be a little problematic. It could be a little frightening. You might have felt that you didn't know who you were in the last several years, or something was strange. Many people are finding themselves suddenly awakening to something spiritual within them that they didn't know existed, that they didn't know was there, and it's kind of surprising them. Some people are just feeling incredibly lost and don't know where they're meant to go. Other people are frightened because they're looking at the world and they think, what's going to happen? Are we going to kill one another? Is everything going to blow up? How is the weather going to change? What's going to happen? But then you come to understand that everything, including what's happening in the world, is controlled by you. Everything in your life is controlled by you because it's your energy. It is your thoughts. It's what you think on a consistent basis that creates your life, because you're putting particular energy into that creation. But then the other thing that happens is that you add that energy to our collective consciousness, the world, the global world. That's what happens. We each do that. There's no person born who doesn't have the same ability, power than any other person. It doesn't happen. There's no one there. Now, you can go into science and prove this to yourself because it's been done already. And this is why you keep listening to certain people trying to get that acceptance, that understanding. And I know this because I lived that, you see. And so we are moving through a period in the world that's never existed before. So yeah, you would be a little uncomfortable. But I understood this information because I'm a mystic, I'm a sage. And so I use my entire life to bring the information that I work with to the world now, because I knew that the world would need this. I knew that my clients would want this. And that's why I do the work that I do. We all come into the world to do something a little bit different. We don't figure that out until we walk through our lives and start to see the events, the circumstances. Now, many times we will judge our lives. And I did this for a long time, thinking we screwed up everything we did was wrong. And that's just the wrong thinking altogether. Because see, we put our experiences, our life experience into the world, and we are given different ones. Everybody has a different evolutionary path that they are following. Your DNA is different than everyone else's, so your path is never going to look like another person. And that's the problem with many of us, because we will start to feel, wait a minute, I'm the odd one. Many people say I'm the black sheep of the family. I've said that one forever because I was getting something different than many other people. You might be moving through that experience right now. And this is why my work helps guide people to that understanding, to know what is happening in your life now and what is happening in our world. And the moment you start to really accept who you are, everything starts to change. You start to see things in a new way. You're not going to have the kind of fear that you might have been experiencing, in the last several years or so. I know this because I've gone through it. Again, this is why I wrote the book on fear. But what I know is that everything that happens in your life is about how you choose to think, because everything is energy. Everything is energy in your world, in your life, and everything is energy in our world, the way we create it all, and we contribute equally by how we decide to live our lives. And if we decide that we're going to love ourselves, move through all the old stuff, because that's what this period is about, this change in our world, what my guides have said is a restructuring, we have to move through all of our old generational biases, hatred, negative beliefs about ourselves and others. Then we can create something that's a lot different. And when we do that, magical things start to happen. And I've proven them all throughout my life. Now, a lot of people, coaches will put things out and, there might be theoretical. Many of them are saying it because of what they've lived. All of mine is because of what I've lived and what I know people can do. So I know what you can do. There's nothing, I've overcome so many physical challenges and mental all of those things. So I know what people can do because it's all in your mindset or your consciousness. And every step that you take to raise your consciousness, you see yourself in a new way. You're no longer afraid. You're doing what you came into the world to do. So when I knew that the world was changing and I shifted my work to more empowerment and getting people to understand who they are and then create lives that can cause them to be happy and prosperous. The money part is really important because your life is supposed to bring you abundance when you understand and accept your authentic self. And I've proven that one many times as well. And I'll tell you something, I received an email yesterday from a client who said, I need to pay you more money, which was really wonderful. And I love that. And I told her I was going to talk about this. She's a client in Romania and she's been working with me for several years, but she started with me with voice and she couldn't understand how I was changing her. And she kept saying, you're changing my life. You've changed my life in so many different ways. Well, because I understood and I can feel what's going on in someone's body because I'm very intuitive as well. But see, this is something I didn't know I could do. And when I started in 1988, I was terrified. I didn't want to do this because I thought I don't have the ability. Again, understanding it's all consciousness. Now, I had other restrictions though, because I was supposed to have been able to know music and play it really well. Now, I couldn't do that. Didn't read music, didn't know it, but I could hear everything and I could correct everything because I could see internally into someone's body and tell them what they should do to get the right sound. That's what I did. Then what she also did is she sent me a clip. She sent me 5 songs that her clients had done. And I'm listening to this. I thought, wow, that is truly wonderful. And she's saying it came from my technique. You see, that's what happens. When you start to own what you can do, then you give that back to others, and that's how our world evolves. But see, I started shifting again a few years ago because I said, okay, I've done that. I've given the world a singing technique that could transform anyone's life, and I know I could do that. There's no problem that anyone could bring me with their voice that I couldn't figure out because I've had so many years of doing it. But the same thing is true in terms of living a great life because, see, I had to do that as well. And that's the work that I'm giving to everyone now because our world needs to shift. We need more people who are happy, who are loving themselves, who are abundant, who are bringing in the riches that they want to have in their lives, because then they're going to make a difference in the world because they'll have more resources to be able to do that. And I'm thrilled because that's exactly what's happening with my work now. And I didn't know that 3 years ago, but I do know it now. And we're going to have another year or so of moving through this, what seems like turmoil, chaos, destruction, but that's because we're building something new. And you will build something new when you decide to become happy, when you decide to love who you are and move on to the next level of who you have become because it has changed. And when you can embrace that, you find a security and peace that puts an entirely different kind of energy into our world, and it works. And I can say that because I know that it does. Another thing, people have asked, well, when can you come into my program? Well, in July, I'm going to have some consultations that I will have open just for those people who want to move into it, but you have to move through that process first because I don't want you to do this if you're not going to really want to achieve the goals that you have for yourself, because the energy then is not what we want in our community, because we're moving in this area of we're ascending to a higher understanding of who we are, and we're doing it all together, and it's a lot of fun. So we will have that. There's no time when you come into my program because it is whenever you are ready. But I do want you to go through this process of understanding what it is, first of all, before you take this leap. But also, if you never come in, just understand this is what's happening. You are being asked to become more. And when you allow yourself to do that, your life will change, and so will the world, because that's how we all contribute to what is happening in our world. Become who you have become. That's probably the most beautiful thing that you could possibly do.
I haven't done anything like this.
It's increased the confidence that I've had in myself.
Everything is better. I mean, every single aspect of my life. My income, the progress is just amazing. Like, you can see changes from week to week.
Introducing your last development program, Life Transformation for Success, the newest part of Roger Burnley's coaching series. In this 3-month online program, you will learn the mindset tools you need to dissolve the shame of your past, discover the gifts within you that make you important to the world, and get the confidence to rise above anything that stands between you and the life that you want.
Everything changed in my life. Everything. Every single thing.
It's time for you to reprogram your mind for success and become self-actualized. If you're ready to transform your life too, learn more at yourlastdevelopmentprogram.com today.